There's a lesson to be learned from Megan Sussex, and that isn't how to thrive in the face of adversity, because obviously she does that very well, but so do a lot of other women who are faced with circumstances where people count them out or diminish or dismiss them. I'm talking to you, you hear me. But there's a lesson here that I think a lot of Gen X women would do well to learn, because we have a habit of being loyal to things that bring us pain and dismiss things that bring us joy far too quickly, because we are conditioned to take care of. And that also means that we're conditioned to accept suffering as just part of the package of taking care of other people. And when I watch her show and I hear her speak in her interviews and I watch them together, what I'm reminded of when I think a valuable lesson here that we could all learn is that there is no amount of satisfaction that can be found in your suffering for you. There is no amount of satisfaction for you, and you matter the most, which is the lesson here, that can be found in the suffering. But there is so much satisfaction that can be found in the joy. And I think when you watch the story of them unfold and you watch people around you's lives unfold, people give so much more weight to the suffering aspect of people's lives that they want to literally dismiss the joy that people can find and live in and be as if it was a secondary effect and not the primary thing. So if Meghan Markle or Megan Sussex isn't your cup of tea, let's talk about Tina Turner. Let's talk about this amazing woman who at 40 something years of age, I believe she was 40 or right, like 40, 41, 42, left a relationship and went on to have arguably the greatest second, third act of anybody that we can probably think of in modern history. And yet, and she even said, and her husband even said, and yet so much of her story for so many people has to be defined by what she went through before 40 and not who she became after 40. And listen, I'm not saying that what she went through before 40 didn't impact who she became after 40. But I go to what she often said, which is, that is the past. That is the past. I don't think about it. I don't relive it. I don't rehash it. My gaze is this way. But so in every interview, just about every interview, especially for a good, 20 years, even well into her marriage and retirement, the questions would always come up about Ike and the past and how does it feel, and all these questions about a section of her life that was this small, but it was pain. And people feel like you have to carry that pain so that we can feel like you're still one of us. And I just want you to know, you don't need to do that. There is no partnership in pain that needs to be carried with you if you have found your path to joy. Megan Sussex, Tina Turner, both found a path to joy. Tina's gone, God rest her soul. Goddess rest her soul. Ancestors rest her soul. But she found joy. Was it hard? Yes. I think we can all agree that Megan probably, it's been hard to find that, to carve the path through joy, through the pain. That's joy, right? And we've gotten to watch that in real time. And that's why we can have these conversations about these women, because we've gotten to watch in real time what it looks like to have to carve that path. But both of these women have chose, because as I said, Tina has passed away, but chose to say, that is who we were. This is who I am. And I'm going to embrace who I am. And it rubbed people the wrong way. It rubs people with Megan the wrong way. It rubbed people with Tina the wrong way. They loved the music, but they didn't understand how she could be so joyful after what she had gone through. And it's because she did what I tell my divorce clients to do. At some point, you get to get amnesia. You don't have to be the person that you were when you were married. There's nothing in your story that has to stay there. No part of it. Even if you have kids, if you are no longer ex's wife, then that part of your story has ended. You don't have to do that anymore. With Megan Sussex, she gets to be Her Royal Highness, mom to Archie and Lily, wife to Harry, business owner, empire builder, right? Like, that's who she is. She doesn't have to be the princess in the bubble whom they almost took out. Tina got to be Tina Turner, rock star, right? World phenomenon. Before people were filling stadiums, she was filling those stadiums, blowing out the rafters, right? Before anybody was flying across stadiums, she was out there on catwalks over the audience. She got to live this grand life, and she refused to allow people's desire for her to experience the pain of the past to prevent her from living how she wanted to live, which was a life of joy. I can remember watching her interviews in real time and Larry King Live and even Oprah, and everybody would always ask her, what about Ike? What about Ike? What about this time? And when did you know it was time? And she would answer them, but you could just see in her face, like, do we have to talk about this again? Because that was no longer her story. And even when the musical on, Tina, it's in there because we need to see the evolution of pain to joy, but the people living it, we also require them to continue to carry that pain so that we can continue to feel like, oh, okay, you're still that person, but they weren't. Tina moved on. She moved to Switzerland. She got married. She had an amazing, amazing life. And it was more of her life in the joy than in the pain. And that's what I want for us to think about today. That's what I want you to think about today. How much of your life has been lived partnershiping with people in the pain? And now you've reached a place in your life, hello Gen X ladies, and now you've reached the place where you could choose to just leave that behind and chart a path to your peace and your joy. But it takes courage, right? It takes a willingness to be wrong. It takes a willingness to stand up and go, I am not going to be your partner in pain anymore. The Sussexes had to stand up and say, we are not going to let this curse of what's happening over here bring us to a place where we are just living in pain. We're just enduring and we're living in pain until we all die. Tina said, I just want to sing and be happy. And I don't actually have to let what has been the first chapter of my life define the rest of my life. So if you are in a place of transition, whether you're going through a divorce, you're hitting a certain age in life, you want to change careers, or the world is changing so rapidly that you just feel like you're crazy, then this is the moment where you get to decide, what is it going to look like in the next chapter? What is it? What path am I going to walk? Am I going to continue to partner with the pain? Or am I going to start figuring out how to partner with peace and joy? And gosh, that might just look so very different from what I expect it to look like. But I know that it's out there and I'm willing to start trying to find it. If that's you, join me Saturday in Life Reimagined, and let's talk about a process that you might be able to use to help you begin to make the steps towards peace and away from pain. It's Dr. Sasheen. Click like and subscribe, and please share the video. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.